You're watching the SEGADriven YouTube channel, and it's back to our Sonic Amateur Games Expo 2024 coverage. In this episode we're taking a look at TechPack Collection, developed by TechDev. Now what we have here is a fantasy collection of retro arcade games that are actually entirely new, but ape the look and feel of 80s Namco arcade classics. It's not too dissimilar to something like Retro Game Challenge on the DS, or the upcoming UFO 50 on PC. The collection features 5 games: TechPack, Super TechPack, Soulfire, TechPanic, and TechPack Adventure. TechPack and Super TechPack are very much inspired by stuff like Mappy and Donkey Kong. The original TechPack is a single screen game where you move around the stages collecting items, and once they're all found you move on to the next stage. This is easier said than done though, because there are lots of enemies roaming around and you can only outrun them if you hold down the jump button to run. Super TechPack is much of the same, but with larger stages that require scrolling, and there's also new abilities and power-ups that can be obtained by stomping on enemies. The run button is also put on its own dedicated button, which makes the game a little comfier to play. I did find that Super TechPack crashed though when I finished a credit, so hopefully that can be amended in a future release. Soulfire is the next game, and this is like a cross between Galaga and Centipede. The aliens rush down the screen towards you much like Centipede, and there's these destroyable blocks that make the aliens turn when they collide with them. The game very much plays like Centipede, but the visual look is definitely more like Galaga with its space setting. Next up we have TechPanic, which is a bit like the original Mario Bros. In that it's a single screen arcade game where you collect presents and bring them down to a pipe at the bottom of the screen. Fairies are also trying to steal the presents before you can get them, so you need to make sure you nab these from the fairies if they get their hands on them. The challenge starts to increase as the game introduces a roaming enemy that can phase through the floors and kill you the moment it touches you. It's a simple premise that's executed really well. And finally we have the most substantial game in the package, which is TechPack Adventure. This game feels like it's riffing on 8-bit Sonic and maybe Pac-Man Land. You can run and jump around the stages collecting coins and avoiding baddies, but you can also run up walls, bounce off springs and break open crates. The stage design is definitely the most elaborate, and as a result it feels like the game you want to spend the most time exploring. The controls across the collection are really snappy and responsive, and despite all being new games they all feel era appropriate. TechPanic has that weird Mario Bros momentum to it, which does make the game feel a little archaic now, but I do think that it helps the game feel like something from the past. It definitely doesn't diminish the appeal either way. My only complaints are that there's some minor scaling issues with the graphics, like the original TechPack plays in a very small window that can't be resized, and the game over screen seems to bizarrely shrink in TechPack Adventure, but these are all minor issues along with the game crashing after finishing a credit of Super TechPack. It's not ideal, but it's easy enough just to open the game again and carry on. I really enjoyed my time with this one, and I think the developer has done an amazing job with making these games feel era accurate. You could easily convince me that these were lost 80s arcade games if I didn't know any better. Definitely give this one a try if any of this looks appealing to you.